everybody, The Real Concert King here. I'm back with another interview. I'm very pleased to be joined by Vaughn Gray, some of my favorite people on the planet. Do you want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Sure, I'm Fiona.
I am Annika.
I'm Petra.
I'm Catherine.
I've been following for a couple years now, so I'm really excited to be doing this with them. I know we're here tonight for Defend Our Future.
Yes.
Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what they do, what you're doing with them?
Yeah, of course. Defend Our Future is an organization that we got involved with pretty recently, actually, and they're totally focused on bringing the message of environmental conscientiousness and just very aware and sensible and responsible living, mostly to millennials and kind of the upcoming generation of young adults. So it's a cause that we have been pretty passionate about for a long time, and so the fact that they're really aiming to reach the same people that we are and kind of ourselves as well is super exciting. So that they're allowing us and invited us to play at a couple of their events, which is exciting.
And I know you guys had the song very kind of loosely related, but you had Ashes about deforestation and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I know you've been very socially conscious and environmentally conscious.
About it,
So you want to talk about how you got into music and musical family? I mean, you're obviously all sisters. Right?
We are all sisters.
And you have a musical family, and you obviously grew up playing music?
We started super young. We did classical
You're all
music.
still-
We're all fairly young, yeah. So relatively speaking, we were very young. We were about 5, and we all started with piano and a string instrument, and we did classical music for a super long time. And our parents were just art lovers and music lovers, and they love the intellectual dimensions of classical music, so it kind of just grew from there.
I think a lot of people don't really appreciate how much classical music influences modern music, especially rock and
Absolutely. Yeah,
heavier
it's the
music.
foundation of, especially kind of intricate musical stuff. It's so important.
Yeah. So when people say they grew up listening to classical music and stuff, it really kind of makes me think that they know what they're talking about a little bit more than people that are like, classical music.
Yeah, no, we're big fans.
What's the writing dynamic like between you guys? I know you two are mostly lead singers.
Yeah.
We're the two who write all the songs as well.
And then Catherine and Petra kind of come in. It's a very democratic process, but they come in a little bit later. And we have absolutely no prowess on lap steel and cello and things like that, so they're able to add, I think, a really fun kind of a little bit of personality, a little bit of depth. So yeah, it works.
And how do you guys, how do you just sing what you write, or how do you determine how that works?
We come up with melodies and then kind of just decide who sounds better, who feels better, who feels more confident.
What were some of your early influences, going back to what you grew up listening to besides the classical music? Artists specifically, or albums, or anything?
It's pretty random. I mean, we grew up listening to a massive variety of music. A lot of Talking Heads, a lot of Yes, a lot of Jethro Tull, classical music, obviously, and also we're big fans of kind of singer-songwriters, a lot of Cat Stevens, Ben Harper, people that focus on lyrics. So it's pretty all over the map. And recently, we have fallen in love with kind of experimental electronic music that uses textures that are just so innovative. So that's been a new kind of inspirational pick for us.
A lot of those influences definitely come through in the music.
Yeah, it's evolving a little bit.
And going back to your songwriting and stuff, the lyrics tend to be both kind of metaphorical and also sometimes just very direct and stuff. Is that how is that? Is that a conscious decision? Sometimes you want to be more open about something, and sometimes you want to be a little more veiled with it?
I write most of the lyrics right now, and a lot of it is kind of stream of consciousness. It's not really thought out on how I want to deliver the message. It's just kind of I'm feeling something, I need to write it down before it makes me implode. So that's kind of the way we go. There's not a lot of method behind the madness, honestly. It just kind of comes out in whatever form it wants to.
Has the way you guys write music and create music, has that changed over the years, or has it been kind of the same and just adding more stuff to it?
Yeah, I think the process is pretty similar, just with a slightly different approach with the music because of the electronic element. That's just it changes up a little bit, but even then,
we still start with a guitar and a melody, and then write lyrics, and then add the fun things on top.
And you're talking about, you're adding more electronic elements and stuff, and you shifted. The first EP was a lot more folk oriented. Was that a conscious thing, or were you just?
I think we were conscious of it happening, but the actual evolution.
It wasn't a decision.
No, it's just kind of as our influences and passions changed. Although I think we're still super proud of everything we've released. We definitely, when we're creating, just naturally kind of do something a little bit differently now.
Yeah.
which is, I think, part of the process of growing.
Have you had any songs that people have, you know, either online or in person come up to you and said that what they think the song is, and it's vastly different than what you intended it to be?
I think so.
Absolutely,
Especially,
yes.
I mean, recently I think we started to write about things that maybe are a little bit more relatable for people that are older, but originally, like, we didn't have a lot of romantic experience and stuff like that. And I think there's certain topics that people tend to gravitate towards because they're so universal, which is always interesting to see how people can kind of take something that's not really within that circle and kind of make it apply to themselves.
Yeah.
So,
You guys have some very interesting music videos. You know, the Deliverance and In the Same Name come to mind.
Yes.
You know, were those your ideas? Did you come up with ideas for anybody else?
They're collaborative,
Yeah.
really. We've had kind of the same person direct almost all of our music videos, and she's done a lot of our photo shoots to date. And her name is Mary Caroline Mann, and it was at the time a very collaborative, open process. We think in colors and like we think in locations a lot, and not as much in like plots. So it's kind of fun sometimes to talk to people who think a little bit differently, creatively, and just kind of see what happens when you mash them together.
Yeah, and you know, like the Katie video, which was just super simple,
yeah.
but it was amazing. It was
Thank
beautiful,
you.
and you know, the dancers and everything just perfectly encapsulated the song.
Thank you.
And you felt it.
Cool. Appreciate that.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, but that's a stark contrast to some of the other ones.
Absolutely.
But it's cool that they're all diverse.
It's a little diversity,
Yeah. How do you come up with set lists? I know you were just talking about it a couple minutes ago. You're still figuring it out. Like, how do you?
It's a little bit more spur of the moment than it should
Yeah.
be, probably.
Especially today. So
Yeah,
it's a little
especially
weird.
today when things are kind of sometimes you just show up for things and it's always fun, but sometimes you kind of are like figuring out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely shows itself in our set lists. For shows that are a little bit more standard in location and setup, we have a setup that we follow pretty closely most of the time these days.
Even if it's not a specific song, it's more of like a
Tempo.
energy sort of flow that we try to keep with for most of our set lists.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have like songs that you like opening with more and closing with more?
Yeah, we have a song called "Bad Bitch" that we like to open with
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot.
good one.
We have a
That's
song.
a good, you know.
It's a nice
get out of the
little
box.
punch in the
Right.
face.
It's like, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, totally. We like to kind of start and end with songs that are sonically impactful
Yeah.
and leave the intimate ones for kind of the middle when people need a little bit of a breather.
Are there any ones that you like to play more than others, or ones that you wish you could play more for whatever reason?
I think there are maybe songs that we would like to and will at some point kind of revamp and reintroduce.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think it's partially like a lot of them. I think the lyrical content is still something that we love to sing, and so maybe just changing the backdrop to it and reintroducing it would be fun in the future.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted.
And if people don't know, they played on Conan and Letterman
We did.
years ago at this
Wow,
point,
yeah.
very long time at this
Very
point.
long
So
time ago.
what were those experiences like? You know,
They were incredible.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
Very
pretty
memorable.
early in our career.
Yeah.
Which was really cool because it gave us a really awesome platform.
That's how I
and
felt.
yeah, exactly. And there's still people that have seen it and are still fans and have followed us kind of on the path of exploration and evolution that we've been on. So that's really inspiring to see people like you who have stayed kind of loyal. So that's obviously appreciated and fun.
You know, what was it like being on that big of a platform at such a young age? You know, with it being a relatively unknown commodity at that point.
It was cool. We didn't have a lot of notice actually for the first one, which was Letterman, which was interesting. But I
don't think a lot of people watch Letterman for music. I think more so. With
it's definitely for
Conan.
the definitely. And I mean, we have a lot of performance. You know, like what am I trying to say? We have a lot of practice, pretty much. We've been playing for a long time before we went on the show, so it was thrilling. But thankfully, I think we had the performance aspect of it kind of nailed down already. So the nerves were not really a defining factor of the experience, which is helpful.
It definitely didn't seem like nervous or anything. I was like, I was actually surprised when I found out later how young you guys were at the time. Like, you know, you were like 14 or whatever at the time, and these girls are so young. Like, I had no idea.
I'm glad that it was apparent immediately.
But
He was small.
what you don't have to get yourself in trouble with anybody, but what do you like and dislike about the current state of the music industry? What would you like to see changed, or what new improvements have been made that you like?
I think that music is a lot more accessible than it used to be, which is actually to me very exciting because there's just so much talent, and there's ways that you can kind of get yourself out there independently or with help, but it's really easy for people to hear you if they want to, which is cool. And there's just so many amazing musicians that it's easy to have a massive diversity of people, a variety of people that you can choose from within different subgenres and stuff. So that's cool. I think it's just like a lot of industries, they just change so rapidly. So it's not.
They're reluctant to change.
They're reluctant to change in some ways, and then the consumers change what they want so quickly. So it's kind of hard to like just remember to like do what feels natural and what feels right. But yeah, there's not a lot of complaints from us right now from it. I think it's just a learning process.
It's like you said, it's a lot easier to discover music now.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easier for people that might not have the backing of giant label.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's ways to do things independently, and that's always a nice, reassuring thought.
You guys have played on some cool tours. Many years ago, Lindsey Sterling. You have a dream tour that you would love an artist that you'd love to tour with.
So many of them, and it changes every day, or just like the list gets bigger. We're huge fans, right? Like we listen to a lot of Glass Animals right now, which is awesome. Like I think that a dream bill for us would be like opening for Bjork or something like that. That would just be like astronomically.
That kind of fits.
Yeah, I think it would be just
personality-wise,
crazy, right? She's amazing. We love her. Like St. Vincent, there's so, especially I think like really badass female artists would be awesome. Like we just love to tour with women. So, yeah.
And then you can play Bad Bitch.
Yeah, I was like perfect.
You guys have played some big. You played Bonnaroo, right?
We did play Bonnaroo.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing you played to date? I mean, besides the TV shows, but like in front of a crowd.
We've done a couple performances, especially in Atlanta, that were like kind of like festival stuff, and there was like a 4th of July show that I think had like 80,000 people at it or something, which was the biggest in-person crowd that we've had.
That's
which was
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so fun. So
Do you get nervous going and you're like, there's that many people out there?
That
would be more nerve-wracking than the TV thing.
a little bit,
see
right there.
I don't think we actually even knew that there were that many people because we couldn't see them.
Yeah,
From
just
the
backstage.
start, and we were like, holy shit, there's so many people here now after we played though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just what I was going
Do you have a worst show experience, like a disaster, like when you're just playing and something just goes terribly wrong?
Most of them are pretty early on. We played a couple of outdoor shows where it's like windy and then instruments fall down on their face, and that's very traumatic for the instrument and for us. But yeah, I don't think we have any nightmarish shows that are like filled with regretful memories. I think all of them would be fun. So, yeah.
What's the best concert any of you have attended or together as a
Tom
fan?
Petty was epic. His live show was very cool. I
That's so
don't know, that was one of the first one to give me.
Catherine saw Prince's last show.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, was
Which
that
makes me
was that
sad,
Atlanta?
but
Yeah, it was just him and a piano.
Oh,
It was amazing.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to remember now.
Yeah.
What about like a surprising fact about you that most people would be like, I can't believe that Annika does that or whatever.
oh my gosh. I don't know if there's any that I want to admit about
It
myself.
doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a secret. Just
Surprising fact.
or just like a surprising artist or that you listen to that you don't think people would expect you to.
I listen to a lot of hip hop music, which is maybe not that surprising. I think it was more surprising when we were playing banjos on stage, honestly, than it is now.
You're from Atlanta.
We're from Atlanta. It's like there's so many talented urban artists from there. We're like pretty standard people. We just like to create sounds with instruments.
Yeah.
But I don't have any shocking things to tell you right now. But I'll let you know when I think of something in
Tweet
20
it.
minutes.
Yeah. If you weren't musicians, what would you do? And you can each pick your own thing if you want.
Well, I would probably enter the medical industry.
I don't know. It's so. I've always been asked this question, and it's always hard to find something that I think I would not end up hating after probably a week.
Yeah.
Probably something in like psychiatry or psychology, because I think for me, writing music, one of the interesting things, like you said, is hearing how people interpret it.
Yeah.
So being able to kind of study like human behavior and some other
How
ways
people
would be
think.
interesting. Yeah.
What they think.
Totally.
I'd probably say something in environmental engineering.
Nice.
Yeah. It's kind of random, but I do.
That's what we're here for.
I do some computer programming, so maybe something in that world.
Something you already do.
Yeah.
But what about, are there any like movies, TVs, books, or anything that you guys nerd out on?
Like Lord of the Rings, obviously. Game of Thrones. We're big fans. We're big
Starting
like
again.
fantasy people.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, all the things are like really pretty, like
Harry
forested
Potter?
scenes. Yeah, Harry Potter's
Really?
amazing. Yeah, we're kind of like nerds in a good way. Especially this.
Just starting to play League of Legends.
Oh my god. It's
Yeah.
nonstop.
Fall down that rabbit hole.
I know.
I've lost a few friends that way. All right, and so you guys are working on some new music.
Yeah.
You've been writing and
Yeah.
recording for a while, and any updates on that, and anything to look forward to later this year, maybe, or next year?
Yeah, we have been doing a lot of writing. We're going to start getting those songs recorded. I think we're going to try to release something like later this year for sure, which is exciting for us. And some of the songs, we have a lot of them are currently like very close to being added to the live set, which is equally like exciting.
You guys played a little bit of Unclean, the one you told me about.
Yeah.
That one sounded really good. So.
Thank you. We're going to be playing that tonight.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of new stuff, and it's fun because I think as we get older, our music is a little bit more experimental sonically, and definitely a little bit more like honest and kind of raw as far as like the messaging goes. So that's kind of a fun dichotomy to explore, where it's kind of esoteric in one way and also really close to home in another way. So yeah.
And what's the best place for people to check out your music and buy it, download it?
If you want to pay for it, we're on
Paying for it is always
Pay for it.
recommended.
Yeah,
Paying
I
for
really
it.
enjoy when people do that. It's on like iTunes and Amazon and our website, I think, and like all over the internet. And we have social media things on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Von Gray on
It's
Von Gray Music.
Von Gray Music on pretty much
With an
everything.
E.
Yes, GREY.
So check them out, buy their music, support them because they're amazing. You can check out some of my live videos for them. Go to their YouTube channel; they have a bunch more awesome music videos to check out. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. And thanks for watching. Thank you to Von Gray. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye, guys.